Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, 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 Hare Rama, H Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jai Radha Gopal Radhe Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जनताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। प्रभु जी, yeah, Swam Prabhu on host. So already I'll request Prabhuji to take over. Thank you very much, Prabhu. You have to unmute yourself, please, Prabhuji.
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, everybody. I welcome everybody to this evening's satsang. Today we are going to discuss about the importance of performing Shraddha ceremony for our departed forefathers. As we know that nowadays Pitra Paksha is going on. The Pitra Paksha started 2nd September of this month and it will continue until I think 16th or 17th of September. So every year there is a 16 days period in the third quarter which is called a Pitra Paksha. And during this Paksha we are required to perform oblations unto our forefathers. The very first oblations to the forefather was performed Karna. As we know that he was a great character in Mahabharata and a great personality, and he was the very great. He was known for his charity. He was very magnanimous in giving the charity, and after his death, he reaches Yamloka, Yamraji, who decides where the person has to go. So he was destined to go to heaven, and he went to heaven. And but to his surprise, there was nothing to eat except the gold. So then he wondered, why he's not getting anything to eat. And that time he was informed that throughout his life he was donating just gold and gold. So he will get back whatever he has given to others in his life. And then he was told that if you want to have the food and water, then you should donate food and water, and then you can get the food and water when you are in the heavenly planet. And as a special mercy, he was given a 16 days time to go back to the earth and perform the oblations unto his departed forefathers. Because once he performs oblations to the departed forefathers, and since he had also departed, so he will also become forefather Pitra. So once he comes back, he will be able to get those offerings or oblations what he has done for his forefather. So this is how the tradition of 16 days Pitra Paksha and the tradition of offering oblations to the forefather, particularly those 16 days, started. And after death, a soul or the jiva can have three destinations. The one, he can go to Golok Dham, Vaikunt Dham, Ayodhya Dham, and it's very, very rare to find such a soul. Second category is Punyatma, the pious souls. Pious souls means the living entities whose account of pious activities are more than the account of sinful activities, or who have done more pious activities than the sinful activities. So these kind of jivas, they go to heavenly planets. And third kind of jivas are papi, or the sinful jivas, whose account of sinful activities or whose sins are more than the pious activities. And most of the jivas in this material world, they head to that destination, they belong to that category. And in Garud Puran, which is one of the 18 Puranas, there are 25 chapters which are meant to give instructions to these categories of living entities whose accounts of sins are more than the account of pious activities. So the Garud Puran, there is a description starting with how the soul leaves the body and how he is carried to the Yamloka and how he gets his next destination. So in the Garud Puran, it is mentioned that before a person is about to leave, he would get a certain type of disease, and the disease is incurable. And just before he is about to leave the body, he runs into high fever, and soon he starts losing his consciousness. He starts becoming weaker and weaker, and at the same time, he starts remembering all his good and bad deeds, whatever he has done in this life. And finally, he would be able to see the living entity. It can be the human being, it can be bird, it can be animal, it can be even Krishna, on which throughout his life he was focusing or he was attached to that object. And while this process is happening, Yamadutas are waiting to separate his prana from his body. And when the final moment comes, the Yamadutas would separate the soul from the gross body. And then the person dies. And once the soul is separated from the body, the soul remains with a subtle cover, as we know from the Bhagavad Gita, that we have got two types of coverings. One is the gross body, which is made of 5 elements, and the subtle body, which is made of mind, intelligence, ego. So when a person leaves the body, the subtle body is gone. Now for 13 days, the jiva will stay in a subtle body. And during those 13 days, the jiva is given a temporary body which is made of the offerings what we make to the departed soul during those 13 days. So that's why it is important that once the soul leaves the body, there is a 13 days period during which different types of offerings are made to the departed soul. So those offerings have to be made, because once we make the offerings, through those offerings, the departed soul gets a body through which it can carry its journey to the Yamloka. Now, the journey to the Yamloka starts from the 14th day. So that means for 13 days, the Atma, the soul, stays in the same place where the death has happened. And from 14th day, the journey of the departed soul or the jiva starts to for the Yamloka. Now in the Garud Puran, there is a description what is the distance between the earth and the Yamloka. And it says the distance between earth and Yamloka is 11 lakh kilometers, about 10.1 million kilometers. And it takes 348 days for the departed soul to reach the Yamloka. And every day, the soul has to travel 3,200 kilometers. And between Earth and Yamloka, there are 16 stations. Like assume if we have to travel from Mumbai to Bangalore, so it's already decided that how many stops will come and what is the total distance and so and so. So it's very scientific. So similarly, the distance between Earth and Yamloka is given. How many stations are there? That's also given. And how many kilometers a jiva has to cover in a day? That's also given. Now, there are 16 stations names have been given. We don't have the time to discuss those 16 stations. But the very first station comes after 18th day. The journey starts from 14th day. So after 18th day, or you can say after 30 days, the soul has left the body. The first station called Yamapura comes in. And throughout the journey to Yamapura, the soul has to suffer a lot of heat, because during the whole journey, the heat is equal to the 10 suns. Assume the 10 suns are throwing the heat simultaneously, and the amount of heat is more than 50 degrees Celsius. So the bottom is hot, the top is hot, and all around the whole environment is very hot. And that's the reason that on the 13th day of the Shraddha, of the 13th day from the day the soul leaves the body, there is a custom that 13 Brahmanas are given a lot of offerings, and some of the offerings are like an umbrella, the torch, and some clothes and water. Because whatever offerings we give, those offerings help the departed soul to save himself or herself from the torture what he or she has to suffer on his journey to the Yamloka. So this is the first destination, and after 4 more destinations, the 6th destination is Vaitarni River. Now we heard about Vaitarni River, and this river is not made of water, milk, or the nectar. This river is made of the blood, urine, stool, all the obnoxious liquids in it. And the departed soul has to cross this river. But it is given in your scriptures that if any soul, if any jiva has done any gaudan, or if anybody has donated a cow in the charity, the crossing this river becomes very easy. Or you can say there is a special facility given to the departed soul who has donated a cow in charity to cross this river, so he doesn't have to suffer the sufferings while crossing the Vaitarni River. When Srila Prabhupada's father was about to leave his body, he was waiting for Srila Prabhupada to come back to home. And as soon as Srila Prabhupada reached home, his father asked him that, my son, we have got a cow in the house. Please take the cow and donate it to one of the Gaudiya Math. And Srila Prabhupada immediately took the cow and donated to the Gaudiya Math. And immediately after that, Srila Prabhupada's father left his body. And this is about 70 years back. So this is the importance of doing a gaudan or offering a cow in charity during one's lifetime. It helps one to cross the Vaitarni River. Now, after crossing another 10 stations, the soul will reach the final station, which is called Bahubhiti. And the soul's first reporting is to the doorkeepers of Yamraj, who are known as a Shravana. And we know meaning of Shravana is hearing. So they are known as Shravana because they can hear everything a jiva does, or whatever sound a jiva produces during his lifetime. Those Shravanas can hear. Not only they can hear, but even they can see the acts of all those jivas. And the Shravana's wives are even more powerful. They can even read the mind of the living entities. So those doorkeepers are there, and when they see the sinful living entity, they start torturing those living entities even more and more, and they send a message to Chitragupta. Chitragupta is a personal assistant of Yamraj. And the Chitragupta has got the official record of all the living entities, the count of the pious and impious activities performed by each and every living entity. And the living entity has to face Chitragupta, and final after facing the Chitragupta, the living entity has to meet with Yamraj. Now Yamraj, the description of Yamraj itself is so fearful, so I'm not sure how much fear a living entity would get once they have the darshan of Yamraj. If we just hear the height of Yamraj, we will be fearful. The height of Yamraj is about 38 kilometers. Imagine the distance between Abu Dhabi main city to say about airport or even after airport. So that kind of height Yamraj has got. His color is completely black. He wears yellow garments, and he carries a weapon like a club in one hand, which is called Yama Danda, and one hand, another hand is called Yama Pasha. And that time, the living entity gets the final award, which destination the living entity has to go, which yoni the living entity will go. And we have to remember here that the journey is 348 days after 13 days. So it becomes 361 days. So this shows us the importance of performing the ceremony after completing, after the 1 year ends, 1 year from the end of the jiva leaves the body. So we have seen the people, they perform the Shraddha ceremony during the 13 days. Then there are monthly ceremonies, and then finally there is a ceremony at the time of when the 1 year is over. And when the 1 year is over, that ceremony is called, I think the Varshi is called, and that time it is required that the people should perform it in elaborate manner as much as they can do, because whatever is given to the departed soul can carry those things in their successive species of life. And although the distance is 11 lakh kilometers and it takes 348 days, but depending on the type of punyas the jiva has done, the number of days can be less, and similarly the sufferings can also be less. It's like traveling in a train in a first class compartment and the second class compartment or the third class compartment. And again, it's like a traveling in a Rajdhani Express where you have got money to buy an expensive ticket and you reach faster, and traveling in a passenger train where you don't have the money and it takes a longer time. So when I say money means it's an account of our pious and impious activities. So the Yamraj is a Mahajana. He is one of the 12 great personalities who knows the principle of religion. So according to the deeds of the activities, the person will get different species of life, like the person can become a devta, he can get the form of a demigod, and there are innumerable demigods. The person can get a human body, the person can get animal body, a body of bird, or it can become a tree, creeper, anything else. And then that's how the cycle of 8,400,000 species of life starts. And we have all gone through this cycle. We do not know how many times, but we have forgotten that cycle. And that's why the Garuda Puran is there. And that's why the Garuda Puran is recited after a person leaves the body. And it's required that the people who are in the family members, they sit down for 13 days and hear the Garuda Puran. But unfortunately, the people, they see that the Garuda Puran is meant for the Brahmanas. They should be reciting and hearing themselves. No, it's not for them. It's meant for the family members so that they can get some message from the Garuda Puran and they can correct themselves or they can improve their behavior, or they can stop performing sinful activities. And now, whatever we offer to the Pitras, they get it which is fit for, they get it in a form which is fit for consumption in the particular form of life. If the Pitras have become a demigod or devta, and if we offer grains in the Pindadan, the grain will be converted into Amrita. If the Pitras have become animal, the grains will be converted into grass. If the Pitras have become birds, the grains will be converted into, say, fruits. If they become human beings, it will be converted into the grains. It's like, we want to remit the money, so we deposit dirham here, but when it reaches USA, the person in USA can get dollars, in UK they can get pounds, in India they can get rupees. And that's how the departed soul gets our offerings we make in their name. And how the departed soul gets the offering? It's through some medium. And one of the medium we know, it's Brahmanas. When we invite the Brahmanas with the Shraddha and the faith, so the departed soul for whom we are performing Shraddha ceremony, the departed soul will appear in that particular Brahmana to accept our offering, which we have to make with lot of love and respect. And in this context, there is a narration in Ramayana when Lord Rama was in forest. He had to perform the Shraddha ceremony for his father, Dasharatha Maharaj, who had departed after Lord Rama left for forest. So Lord Rama invited the saints and sages, and they started serving the food. And Sita Mata also started serving the food. So soon after she started serving the food, she started crying and she went inside the cottage. And after Lord Rama finished the ceremony of feeding the saints and sages, he went inside the cottage and asked Sita Mata that why did you start crying and why did you leave? Why did not you complete feeding the saints and sages who we have invited? So that time Sita Mata said that in the sage who I was offering the food, I could see Dasharatha Maharaj. And I was so sad to see that my father-in-law is in my house, but I cannot offer anything other than a kandamulan. And another thing, I did not want my father-in-law to be sorry, because if he sees me in such kind of form, then certainly he won't be happy. So with this incident, we can understand that it's true that our ancestors, they come in the form of a Brahmana and they accept our offering. And we know that there is a tradition that before any offering is made to a Brahmana, the offering has to be made to the cows, and I think dogs also. So in the context of cow, there is a narration or incident. It again happened at the time when Lord Rama was here in the Treta Yuga, that once the saints and sages, they organized a sacrifice very secretly, because Ravana had stopped all kinds of sacrifices. But Ravana got to know that saints and sages have organized a sacrifice, and he wanted to stop it. So he reached on the spot where the sacrifice was being performed. But the demigods, they got to know in advance that Ravana is heading to the spot. So each of the demigod, they assumed the form of the animals and birds. And Ravana reaches on the spot, he couldn't see anything, and leaves the place. And after he leaves the place, every demigod blesses the animal and bird whose form they had assumed. So when the sacrifice was being performed, that time Yamraj had assumed the form of a crow. So after Ravana left, Yamraj blessed the crow that from henceforth you will be the postmaster, or you will be the carrier, or who can say like a Zomato, that whose job is to pick the food from the one place and deliver to another place. So since then, the crow has become the carrier of the food. Whatever we offer to the crows in the name of parents, the crow will carry it and give to the forefathers. So this is a little background about how the tradition of performing a Shraddha ceremony started. It started from Karna. It's given in the scriptures. I give you a brief overview, the importance of performing the rituals for the 13 days, then every month, and that year end. And then in 1 year, there is a 16 days period which is known Pitra Paksha, and during that period, our Pitras are allowed to come on the earth and visit their descendants and receive the offerings directly from them. So it's very important that the Pitra Paksha is observed, and whatever offerings can be made with the love and respect to the descendants should be made. Now there is a confusion or the debate whether a devotee should make an offering to the forefathers or not. So we will discuss in brief about that point based on the scriptures. And there is a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 41. And I'm going to recite this verse, and we will see what Prabhupada said in the purport, and then we will continue with that discussion. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hi sham lupta pindodaka kriyaha. Shankaraha such unwanted children. Narakaya make for hellish life. Eva certainly. Kulagnanam for those who are killers of the family. Kulasya for the family. Cha also. Patanti fall down. Pitaraha forefathers. He certainly. Esham of them. Lupta stopped. Pinda of offerings of food. Udaka and water. Kriyaha performances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful actions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam, food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotion life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. It is stated in the Bhagavatam 11.5.41. देवर्षि भूतापनृणाम पितॄणाम न किं करुणायं ऋणीचराचन सर्वात्मनाय शरणं शरण्यं गतो मुकुन्दं परिहृत्य कर्तम्. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, journal living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotion service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Girvardhari Prabhu. Girvardhari Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, just can you do the 2 minutes kirtan? Prabhu, excuse me.
Yeah,
Hare
sure. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, bro. So, in this verse, Srila Prabhupada, in this verse, Arjuna is speaking to Krishna and he is giving his argument for not fighting with the Kauravas. And in the purport, Prabhupada has explained very beautifully about the importance of offering oblations to the forefathers. And Prabhupada quotes one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is the verse quoted generally by the devotees for arguing that they shouldn't be offering oblations to the forefathers, so they are not required to perform Shraddha ceremony for the forefathers. So here, now let's discuss the verse what is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. This verse is spoken by Narad Muni to Vasudeva, who is the father of Lord Krishna. So Narad Muni is giving the instructions to Vasudeva. And here he says that there are 6 types of ranas or the obligations on a living entities. Or a living entity is indebted to the devas, the demigods, because demigods, they supply us, for example, they supply us the rain. they supply us air, they supply us earth, they supply us water, right? So we always remain indebted to them. We are indebted to the sages because they have given us the knowledge, they have given us the scriptures. Bhuta, Bhuta means it includes the birds, animals, and other living entities, because we cannot survive without, say, for example, if the cow is not there, we don't get the milk. There are so many other animals who render service to us. There are birds, who help us in one way or other way. So we remain indebted to them. And Apta means friends and relatives. In our life, our family friends and the people we live in the society, they also help us in one way or other way. So we are indebted to them. And Nirnam, they are ordinary human beings who are not our friends and relatives. We are indebted to them also. For example, the people who construct the roads, right? People who take care of the landscaping in the gardens. So we remain indebted to them. And the sixth, it says, Devrashi Bhutapta Nirnam Pitranam. The sixth is forefathers. So living entity remains indebted to the forefathers. The forefathers means our father and mother who have left the body. So now the question is that should a devotee observe the 13 days period, offer the oblation to the father every month at the completion of 1 year, or during this 16 days period? So in this context, we should remember one thing, that one remains always indebted to his father and mother, whether he or she becomes a devotee or does not become a devotee. How much a person is indebted to his parents, Krishna himself speaks on that in the 10th canto, chapter 45. There are 3 verses, 5, 6, 7. I am quickly going to recite those verses in the translation just to understand how important it is to respect the parents when they are alive and as well as when they are not here. So it's Lord Krishna who is speaking to his parents. After Lord Krishna kills Kansa, he releases his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, and that time he is begging the forgiveness from them that due to Kamsa's fear, he could not serve them, and at the same time they could not enjoy the pastimes of Krishna. And Krishna offers the respects to his parents by touching his head unto their feet, and that's how he offers the obeisances. And he gets up and he speaks these 3 verses. So Lord Krishna says, Sarvartha Sambhavo Dehu Janitah Poshito Yatah Natayoryati Nirvisham Pitror Mratya Shatayusha. With one's body, one can acquire all goals of life, and it is one's parents who give the body birth and sustenance. Therefore, no mortal man can repay his debt to his parents, even if he serves them for a full lifetime of 100 years. So here Krishna says that it's our parents. It's not difficult to understand that it's our parents who gives us the body. It's our parents who sustain the body. It's our parents who bring us up. And it's through this body by which we can do so many things in this material world. We can fulfill our list of so many wishes and desires, and we can go to even Krishna Loka also. We can reach even Golok Dham also. So the root is the parents. And we have to remember that every parent has to go through a lot of hardship right from the moment the mother gives the birth, then throughout their life when they are here by one way or other way. So that's why Krishna says that no mortal man can repay the debt even if he serves a full 100 years of lifetime. That means a person will remain always indebted because nobody can serve continuously throughout his life his parents, even if he or she wishes to do it. And another thing, in the Kali Yuga, no one has got 100 years of life. But the point is that even if one decides to serve his parents throughout his life, and he or she does so, still the person will remain indebted to the parents. And the next verse, Krishna says, Yastayoratmajah kalpa atmana cha dhanena cha vrittim na dadyata tam pritya swamamsam khadayantihi yah bhu tayaho of them atmajah a son kalpa capable. So here Prabhupada, the translation it is given that a son who though able to do so, kalpa means capable, fails to provide for his parents with his physical resources and wealth, is forced after his death to eat his own flesh. So in this verse, Lord Krishna says that the person has to serve his parents, Atmana, means by his own body, physical service, and Dhanena, by all his wealth. And if the person does not do so, then such person will get a species of life where he or she will have to eat his own flesh. And third verse, Krishna says, Mataram pitaram vridham bharayam sadhavim sutam shishum gurum vipram prapannam cha kalpo abhibhrat shwashan mritah. A man who, though able to do so, fails to support his elderly parents, chaste wife, young child, or spiritual master, or who neglects a Brahmana, or anyone who comes to him for shelter, is considered dead, though breathing. So here in this verse says, Lord Krishna says that if a person does not serve his parents, particularly it says matram, pitram, vridham, particularly the elderly parents, then he is living, but it's like a dead body. So, having heard from Krishna these three verses, who can say that we can repay the debt of our parents? We can always remain indebted to our parents. Now, as far as the point of being a devotee is concerned, whether one is a devotee or not a devotee, the person remains indebted to the parents. Now, if we read the translation of this verse, 11.5.41, in the translation, Prabhupada explains what kind of devotee is mentioned in this verse, or who is exempted for performing the rituals for the forefathers. Prabhupada says that giving up all kinds of obligations. It says parihritya kartam. The person who has given up all kinds of obligations, or who has given up all kinds of activities. So in this material world, where we can find a person who has given up all kinds of activities or who has renounced all kinds of all kinds of obligations. And second, Prabhupada says, taken the path in all seriousness. It says sarvatmana, taken the path in all seriousness. That means he is a pure devotee. Right? Just by chanting 16 rounds for a few years, reciting Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, going for satsang and all, we start becoming a devotee with a lot of struggle. But we have not reached to the stage where we can call ourselves that we are a pure devotee. Yoginam api sarvesham madgadin antaratmana. Krishna says of all the yogis, who is the best yogi? Who always remembers me? Who always renders service unto me? Who has a faith in me? So if at all we claim ourselves to be the devotee, we have to measure ourselves against one of these criteria, so that how much faith we have got. How much we have renounced. Right? It's very difficult to renounce the tea, coffee. It's very difficult to renounce the few things during Chaturmasa. So where is the question of becoming the pure devotee and coming to a stage where we can say that we are not required to perform any oblations, or we don't have any debt towards our departed parents. And the kind of devotee who is not required to perform any kind of oblation is a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj. Right? Just see his remembrance for the Lord, is unwavering, the first class devotee. Right? Dehendriya pran mano dhyam yo janmapya shuddh bhay tarsh krichhi sansar vimuhya, that one who is not bewildered in the midst of the three miseries, then he is considered the first class devotee. So once a person reaches to that stage, that time the person is not indebted to anybody. But the point is that even such personalities who have reached that stage, they continue to perform or carry out their family traditions. The reason is that if they do not perform their family traditions, their descendants cannot learn those family traditions. Imagine they have become the devotee, but how about the children do not become the devotee, like Prahlad Maharaj? So they have not become the devotee, pure devotee, so they are required to perform these ceremonies, but they are not performing these ceremonies. They cannot perform these ceremonies because they were not taught how to perform these ceremonies. So even after a person claims to be a pure devotee, the person has to carry on with the family traditions in order to teach his descendants. And just now we discussed the example of Lord Rama. That was he required to perform a Shraddha ceremony for his father? No, being a god, he was not required, but still he did so to teach other living entities, to set an example for others. Krishna, was he required to accept a guru? No. Was Krishna required to perform Sandhya Vandana? No. But still, he performed it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu similarly. Was he required to do so many things? He went to Gaya and all? No, he was not required. But why? Why even the God himself doing so many things of following the social traditions to set an example for other living entities? And Lord Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, he is giving the example of Janak Maharaj. He gives his own example that if I don't perform my duties, the common man will follow my example. So the point is that whether, first of all, nobody is a pure devotee. Anybody who says that I am not required to perform the oblations unto my forefather because I am a pure devotee, that means he is not a pure devotee. Pure devotee will never say that I am a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada never said that I am a pure devotee. Have we ever heard Srila Prabhupada saying that I am a pure devotee? No, because he was a pure devotee. And even if we become a pure devotee, still we have to continue following the family traditions and perform the rituals, whatever required to be done for the forefathers. And another point is that whether if you are a devotee, doesn't matter parents are a devotee or not a devotee. These rituals, the ceremonies, offerings have to be made, even if the parents are not the devotee. In this Taittiriya Upanishad, it is said, Matra Devo Bhava, Pitra Devo Bhava. It is said, your mother is like a demigod. Mother has to be worshipped. Father has to be worshipped. It says mother has to be worshipped. It doesn't say that Bhakta mother, Bhakta Matra Devo Bhava. It doesn't say that if your mother is a devotee, then she has to be worshipped. Or father is a devotee, then he has to be worshipped. Whether they are a devotee or not a devotee, we remain indebted to them. And another thing, as Prabhupada says in the purport, that our ancestors may have been suffering in another yoni due to the reaction of their sinful actions. Or they may not have assumed a gross body, and they may have remain. They may be staying like a ghost. So there is a lot of suffering to them, and if we are capable to help them, if Krishna has given us the opulence or the means to serve them after they have left their bodies, and we do not serve them, then certainly they will not be happy. They will not be happy means we will not get the blessings. And we will not get the blessings means we will get the curse in one way or in another way. In any living entity's life, there are 16 samskaras. Right from the Garbhadan sanskar, then Anna sanskara is there, then so many other sanskaras, even Upnayana sanskara, all these sanskaras are there. So of 16 sanskaras, the 15 sanskaras are performed by the parents. There is only one sanskara which can be performed by the children. And even that one sanskara is not performed by the son, then certainly the parents will not be happy end. And particularly if they have been suffering in a yoni, or they have got a ghostly body. And that's why, our Shastras are full of instructions to respect our parents. And there are so many stories in our Ramayana, in our Mahabharata, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In most of the stories, we hear that so-and-so person cursed so-and-so, so-and-so person cursed so-and-so, so-and-so person cursed so-and-so. Why this is given? This is given so that we can change our behavior, or these things have been given to warn us that if we also do these things, then we can also be subject to same type of punishment. So it's very important that the parents have to be respected when they are alive, and even after they leave the body, we continue to respect them as much as we can do it. And on this point, we should remember that just by offering the oblations to the forefathers, we don't fulfill all our duties. We have the duties to our parents when they are alive and when they leave their body. And when they are alive, we should continue to express our gratitude to them. Gunayanam Sheeladhanam Kritagyam Vriddhashrayam Sambranetenu Sampadayam. The person will get all kinds of opulence if he has a good character. Gunayanam means he has got a good qualities. Sheeladhanam, his character is very good. And Kritagyam, who acknowledges what others have done for him or her. So when it comes to the gratitude, our first gratitude, foremost gratitude, the most gratitude, all the gratitude goes to our parents. And just this evening, I was hearing one lecture. I happened to hear it. It's a Sarvabhaum Prabhu. He was narrating the incidents of Ashwathama. That Ashwathama had to be killed due to his sinful acts. But how did Arjuna kill Ashwathama? He did not kill Ashwathama physically. Rather, he killed Ashwathama by disrespecting him, by taking the money away from his forehead, or from his head. So what does it mean? That if we disrespect any elderly person, including our parents, it means we are killing them. So even if they are merciful on us, the thing is that we have to suffer the reactions of our actions. So it's very important that we show our utmost respect to our parents when they are alive, and after they leave the body, we should not have the ego that I have become such a devotee or the great devotee that I am not required to perform any oblations unto my forefathers. And one more thing, when we perform any kind of oblations to our forefathers, we should remember Lord Vamanadev while we are performing those oblations or doing anything for our forefathers. In this context, there is a very nice verse in the 8th canto, and that verse is given in chapter This is 8.23.31. It says, Kriyamane karmanidam deve petre ath manushe yatra yatranu tattesham sukratam viduhu. Whenever activities of Vaman Dev are described in the course of a ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please the forefathers in Pitraloka, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be extremely auspicious. So here in the translation, Srila Prabhupada says that in any kind of ceremony, whether it's meant to please the demigods or to please the forefathers or any other ritual like a marriage ceremony, if we glorify Lord Vamandev during that ceremony itself becomes a very auspicious ceremony. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are three kinds of ceremonies, especially ceremonies to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the demigods, those performed for social celebrations like marriages and birthdays, and those meant to please the forefathers like the Shraddha ceremony. In all these ceremonies, large amounts of money are spent for various activities. But here it is suggested that if along with this there is a recitation of the wonderful activities of Vamanadeva, certainly the ceremony will be carried out successfully and will be free of all discrepancies. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So with this, I would like to give Viram to the Katha. Now, if any devotee has got any questions or comments, they are welcome for a few minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam. Prabhuji, here in Abu Dhabi, means whether we can perform independently at home or because here we don't have brahmanas or like that, no? How we can perform here? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, then you can send the Lakshmi money to someone in India and they can do it on your behalf. And when you are here, still you can offer, say you can feed the birds, you can feed the fishes, you can make some payasam and give to the people. So there are innumerable ways through which you can make offering to your forefathers. It all depends on the time, place, circumstances. The most important thing is that your love and respect for them and your remembrance for them. That's what it matters. Just a few days back, I got to know one person from Pakistan whose parents died many years back, but still he keeps aside 1,000 dirham for his mother and 1,000 dirham for his father. And with the 2,000 dirham, he will do so many charities in the name of his father and mother. So I think we should have that kind of mood, that I had to serve my parents when they're alive, and even after they leave their bodies, they are no more. I continue to serve them the way I was serving when they're alive. So that was a very exemplary example. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Prabhuji, regarding this Godan, is it necessary that we have to do the Godan to the Brahmanas, or can we donate the Godan to the temples? I mean, temple of Lord Krishna.
any temple, Mataji, anywhere you can do the Gaudan. The thing is that the most important thing, you should do the Gaudan in a place where the cow is fully protected, and the cow is taken care very well. And I've seen that tradition is there that once you give a cow in the charity, then regularly you keep inquiring about that cow, regularly keep sending some Lakshmi for the maintenance of that cow.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
And in this context, one more thing I would like to say that a person can do his own Shraddha ceremony when he or she is alive. And if the person can dare to do so, if the person can see that his death is imminent, he is going to die one other point of time, then the person should perform his own Shraddha ceremony when he is alive, so that his kids can be free from the dead. So no expectation from the children. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in India, I've seen the Shraddha ceremony or the rituals which are being performed at various places. The Brahmanas who are selected normally for such rituals, they show a lot of greed, and we because they normally come to these rituals and we end up serving them. So is it correct to do that way, or we should really change our method?
Prabhuji, you are asking me the same question what I asked Radha Govind Maharaj 23 years back. So Maharaj said that you are talking about the Brahmanas who have fallen down in the Kali Yuga. So Maharaj said, don't forget that it's not only the Brahmanas who have fallen down in the Kali Yuga. All the four categories, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all have fallen down in the Kali Yuga. So even you yourself are not exempted. The way Brahmana has got so many faults, you also have got so many faults, right? Not you means, it's everyone has got the faults. So when we invite someone, we do our best to invite someone for offering them the Krishna Prasad, and with a lot of love and respect, we feed them with Krishna Prasadam. And we don't consider or we don't think about their habits, good habits or bad habits. That's not the thing we have to consider. Because if we start looking at their faults, then we won't find any Brahmana in this Kali Yuga, the true Brahmana. We may hardly find some Brahmanas. So we should do our best when it comes to feeding the Brahmanas.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
प्रभु
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
प्रभु
जी।
जी मेरे को रेफरेंस चाहिए था वो पितृपक्ष में forefathers come down you said ना that वो उसका रेफरेंस कहाँ है?
माता जी ये सब गरुड़ पुराण में दिया गया है और उसके अंदर 25 अध्याय हैं तकरीबन। एंड तो 25 अध्यायों का उसको तो बताने के लिए समय नहीं है, बट यू कैन ट्राई टू फाइंड सम टाइम टू रीड इफ यू हैव द टाइम, बट आई वुड एडवाइस यू not to go to the Garud Puran. It's not required. If our house is in fire, we don't want to spend time in finding out how did we get into the fire or how did our house catch the fire. Rather we look at the solution, right?
I just wanted the reference probably if they're in Garud Puran, if you're saying it's fine.
Yeah, so exact reference, Mataji, I do not know, but what I know that this thing is coming from a Garud Puran. And one more thing, it is not as advisable to keep the Garud Puran in the house. If at all you want to keep anything, just keep Srila Prabhupada books, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
आशीष बोल रहा हूँ मैं अबू धाबी से। आपने प्रभु जी आपने एक बोला था कि मीन्स बाय सन्स this sanskara can be performed. So मेरा बस question है क्या ये sons are the qualified, daughters भी qualify है, ये संस्कार कर सकते हैं?
Yeah. See, ideally, it should be performed by the son, but if the son is not there, then other members in the family can perform the sanskaras. Yeah. So there is no dosha in it. And one more thing we have to remember in this context, many times people they say that if a person or if a father and mother does not have a son, they will not get the liberation. So that's not true. The mukti does not depend on anything. Mukti depends only on bhakti. If one becomes a devotee of the Krishna, then person can liberate himself or herself without anybody's help. And the person who wants to have the son with a desire that the son will be performing pindadan for him, that means the person has a desire to continue to suffer in the 8,400,000 species of life. Because pindadan is meant for the people who do not get the liberation. So this is another thing we have to remember.
धन्यवाद प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad Pranam. Prabhuji, I have a doubt that, that Sraad Balidan, that we have to, Pindadan, we have to, we have to give for every year basis. That means the death day of our parents or, grandparents. Like that we have to offer, or, the, the days only, the very next year only.
Mataji, as I understand that the rituals have to be performed for the 13 days, right? And after that, until the 1 year is completed, there are monthly rituals. Upon the completion of 1 year, there is another ritual. And thereafter, it should be at least once in a year, that's during the Shraddha period. This is 16 days. Now, if your any of your ancestor has departed, say on the 10th day, then it's a Dashmi, and if it is on the Ekadashi, then it's on that day. That's how it goes. So the day your ancestor was the day when the funeral ceremony was performed for your ancestor, that's the day when you have to make an offering in the name of that forefather. And one more thing, the forefathers includes, it means it includes our departed father. It includes our fathers of fathers, if he has been departed from this world, father's father's father, right? So it can be so many generations, but we cannot make offerings to all those departed forefathers. So generally, it is the last descendant. Like in my case, I don't have the father, unfortunately. So before my father left this world, I used to remember my father's father and mother who had left this material world. But after my father left this material world, I stopped making offering to my grandfather and mother. Rather, I remember my father so that he can make the offerings to his father and mother. The way we do for the Guru Parampara. Like we make the offering to the Guru, he will make the offering to Srila Prabhupada, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's how. So I believe that's the way we should be doing. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandot pranams. This Sajjana Priya Krishna Das.
Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Especially very good point that you said regarding this 11th canto, 5th chapter, 41 verse. Sarvatmana. Actually, nobody reads the Sarvatmana. Sarvatmana is full surrender. No, unless we fully surrender, our obligations will not go away from all this. That's very nice point, Doctor. Thank you very much for highlighting this. Thank you.
And there are two things Prabhu. Prabhupada says in the purport, Sarvatmana and Parihritya Kartam.
Okay.
So the nobody can say that he has reached to this point, and even if person has reached to this point, still he has to perform, carry
Correct.
on, doing his
Correct.
following his traditions. Yeah. So that's
And also 7th canto, you were saying about Prahlad Maharaj. In fact, Lord Narasimhadev tells that you have to do the ritualistic ceremony and do the Sradhana ceremony for your father. He specifically instructs Prahlad Maharaj in 7th canto,
Yes.
no? After the departure of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu, for mentioning it, because I have not read it carefully. But yeah, that's a very good point. I'll make a note of it.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, this is Tulsi Puja from Sharjah. Prabhuji, I have a question. If there is some marriage in our family, so in that year, do we have to conduct this Pitrapaksha Shraddha, or we should skip that in that case?
I think there is a tradition, that once if anyone dies in the family, then for a year, no auspicious ceremony or no function has to be performed in that family, because as I mentioned during the discussion in the beginning, that it takes 348 days after 13 days for a person to reach Yam Loka and get his final award, where the person is going to go or to settle down. So if during that period, if we perform any auspicious ceremony or any celebration that is not a respect to the person or respect to our parents who have done so much for us. And after 1 year, whenever there is a ceremony, any auspicious ceremony in the house, the parents have to be remembered. Parents have to be offered the clothes, food, whatever can be done in their name. Again, with love and respect, while remembering Krishna, offering those items to Krishna and giving those things as a prasad to the forefathers. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one more request. Prabhu. Can I have this recording, Prabhu? This recording we want.
Yes, Prabhu, I believe Krishna Kinkar will have the recording.
Okay.
So he will post the recording.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. In YouTube, no? It is in YouTube?
Yeah, it will be in YouTube.
Okay. Thanks.
Prabhuji, one thing, if a person is actually
Should we offer
leaving the
Krishna
body
Prasadam
on
to forefathers?
Ekadashi day, so the Shraddha is falling on Ekadashi day, so is it, because like normally we don't give grains, so how that is actually, if you have any idea?
Prabhu, as I understand, if a person has left the body on Ekadashi day, then the funeral will be on the next day. So it will be a Dwadashi. But if at all you have to do on the 11th day, I believe, I have not read anywhere, but I believe the prohibition is on us not to eat the grains. But if you find a Brahmana who is willing to eat the grain on the Ekadashi day, you can offer it to the Brahmana on that day, or it is given in the scriptures. I heard that Amavasya is the day when you can make the offering for your forefathers if they've departed on the first day or second or third day, or if you cannot do the offering on any one of these 14 or 15 days, Amavasya is the day when you can make the offering for any kind of forefather. So you can choose the Amavasya day, which is not the Ekadashi day.
Okay.
One point is there is a belief that it is must for someone to go to Gaya and offer the obligation to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, I believe. There is something mentioned somewhere which I do not remember exactly why it is so that we have to go to Gaya and pay the obligation.
Yeah, Prabhu, yeah, this is correct that the Gaya is a very auspicious place. And if we have the ancestors or forefathers who we believe are not peaceful and they are still suffering, or even otherwise, one should go to Gaya and perform the Pindadan in the name of Gaya. But we should not go to Gaya and offer the Pindadan to get rid of offering oblations every year.
Okay.
Because if we go with that mood, that means for us it's a burden to offer oblations to our forefather every year. So we can go to Gaya, offer the oblation to the forefathers, so they can be even happier. But once we are back, we continue with what we do every year. And the thing is that if the forefathers have been liberated by Krishna, they have gone to Krishna Loka. So whatever offerings we make in their name, those offerings will come back to us. It's like a bank transfer, and you make the transfer in the name of somebody, and the bank doesn't find the transferee. So the transfer will come back to you. So even if your forefather gets a liberation, and we do not know whether the forefathers got the liberation or not. Nobody knows where the jiva is gone after the jiva leaves the body. It's only Krishna knows. But the point is that we should continue to perform our duties, and we will get the benefit of performing those duties. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, should we offer Krishna Prasad to forefathers?
Yeah, we should offer only Krishna Prasad to forefathers, if we can do so. We should offer it to Krishna, and then we offer to our forefathers. Like on the day of my father's Shraddha ceremony, we will make the items what my father used to like. We offer it to Krishna, then we keep the same offering in front of our father and offer it to him along with the flowers.
Prabhuji, same plate, Sarvamangala, same plate you can offer after offering the prasadam to Lord Krishna. Same plate we can offer in front of our parents.
Yes, but but in a different plate and with some hot puris and all, right? Along with offer puris, we keep 1 or 2 hot puris or something, or whatever you can do, and offer some flowers. Send some Lakshmi to India so that India also somebody can feel and give them the clothes as an offering. Send some money for the cows. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, I cannot hear you. Hare Krishna. I cannot hear you, Mataji. You can write it, just can you write brief and post it? I can see it in the chat. So while Mataji is writing, I think one of the devotees is on. Can I request all the devotees to mute their mic? Can I request all the devotees to mute their mic, please?
Prabhu, can you just mute your mic, please?
Hello. Yeah, what should be done for the plate after offering to forefather? Yeah, so we have to consume it. It's a prasad from our forefathers, right? Ideally, it should be given to the brahmanas, right? But brahmanas are not here, right? We cannot invite anybody here, and so, and again, we do not want to throw that Krishna prasadam. And otherwise, also when the parents are alive, we eat together and we eat their remnants. So after they have left the body, we can eat the remnants. I don't see any harm in that. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji, did you get the answer?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And one more thing in terms of respecting our forefathers, we should keep their picture in our house, and the picture should not be hanging on the wall. It should be placed on a platform with a respect. And ideally, if you can place it in your prayer room facing the deities, it is good, because Krishna's altar is kept in the northeast side and the forefathers' place is on the south side. So when you keep the forefathers in front of the deities, the one thing, they get their proper position, and at the same time they can have the darshan of the Lord. At the same time, we can also have their darshan and get their blessings every day. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Any Prabhuji or Mataji has got any question or any other comment?
If we don't have any Brahmana to send right now to Lakshmi for instead of doing this ritual ceremony being in Abu Dhabi, can we send this Lakshmi to temple as a
Prabhu, we have so many people in our families, right? Not necessarily in your family, it can be your wife family, it can be your brother family. And nowadays the transfer is instant transfer. Within no time they can get the money. And then with that money, on a particular day, they can get 1, 2, 3, 4 brahmanas, whatever they can do. Give them some clothes, give them some prasadam. If not prasadam, get them some nice homemade food. And the thing is that remembrance has to be there, because the temple, we can send the money to the temple, but the temple is not the place where they would invite the brahmanas and they would remember your forefathers and give them the food and all. And one more thing we have to remember, any temple is already loaded with so many seva. And imagine all the devotees start sending the Lakshmi to the temples to do the Shraddha ceremony for the forefathers. What will happen to the temple seva? Right? And again, if we are giving the Lakshmi to somebody in our family and ask them to do the ceremony for our forefathers, we are setting an example for them, and they would also learn that how those should be respecting the forefathers. Okay, Prabhuji?
Now, in this COVID situation, Prabhu, right now, the difficulty is now calling Brahmana at home is a concern for them also, and for us also.
Yeah, Prabhu, this one during the COVID, the people are visiting the houses, and if you don't want to bring anybody to the house, you send the money to the priest account with your father or parents, whosoever your ancestors are there. Because again, according to time, place, circumstances, we have to make an offering to our ancestors. And once COVID is over, then you can again feed them. There is no harm in giving them the offering more than once in a year. Every Amavasya, you can make an offering for them. You can offer, the black sesame seeds to the ants, right? That's also an offering. In Abu Dhabi, you can see so many places where the crowds are there. You can take some puri and paisam, make small bites and leave it there. That's also acceptable, right? So there are innumerable ways, we can remember our forefathers. Okay, Prabhuji and Mataji. So thank you so much for your time and attention. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. So, Girvardhari Prabhu, thank you so much for organizing the program. And now we can end the session.
पुरुषोत्तम मास प्रभु अभी पुरुषोत्तम मास के बारे में बोलना है.
Krishna willing, Mataji. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.